tuned into Life is a Sacred Journey. Every week, we bring a new perspective to aging and caregiving. Here is your host, Michelle Pope.
Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening to all of you in the virtual neighborhood of Life is a Sacred Journey. I am your host, Michelle Pope, and it is my honor every Friday morning at 8 a.m. Wow. The sun is up this morning, actually. I get to come and share either my own personal ponderings of the week, or a morning like this morning, I get to introduce you to a new and incredible, fascinating person that's trying to be the change. You know, our motto and philosophy is not to be upset about things, not to hold anger, grudges, and pain about things, but just to get out there in the world and try to change it. One little step at a time, one person at a time, one breath at a time. So I am thankful that you're here. Go get your water, your tea, your coffee, I don't know, your orange juice. And if you're on vacation and you're somewhere where you can have a mimosa, I guess you can do that too. So get comfortable and get a piece of paper, just in case you want to write something down that you want to share with somebody later on, and then hit the share button for those of you that have the opportunity to do that. So welcome to Life is a Sacred Journey. I'm so glad you're here, and I hope you had a good week. So this morning, I am really excited. I didn't know anything about Dr. Jugessur. I hope I pronounced that properly. Yes. Okay, perfect. And I didn't know anything about her. Felicia sent me some information, and as you know, I like to do my homework and I like to find out about people. And I looked her up and began to see the wonder of what it means to be the change in the world, particularly as she spent some time in Africa and lifted up the women. We just celebrated International Women's Day, Women's Month, and as I tell you, all those things are great, but we got to get to the doing of all of these celebrations. And they require us sometimes to travel to places and learn from other people. And Dr. Jugessur went to Africa and learned about the work of the women and how hard they're working due to war and the loss of their male partners in the universe of Africa, and trying to get the world together there. You know, the AIDS, I know when I was in my early years fighting against AIDS, Africa was really being hit hard. It still is. All of that. And then she has time to start a foundation and an organization that deals with mind, body, and spirit through yoga and meditation and just really balance. I'm always talking to you about balance. So Dr. Jugessur, welcome to Life is a Sacred Journey. You really have inspired me this morning, and I just want to thank you for that, because wow, that's what we're supposed to do, is inspire each other. But would you start by sharing a little bit of your story and what brought you to, going to Africa, starting the foundation, starting the center in Canada? Just tell your story, because sometimes that inspires others.
Yeah, so I didn't start the foundation. Let me get that.
Oh, okay. You didn't start it. Okay.
Yeah, so the foundation is called the Art of Living Foundation. It's an international organization that was started by the founder, Gurudev Sri Sri Ravi Shankar. He's a world-known humanitarian and spiritual leader, peace builder, and he has done a lot of work globally in areas to uplift humanity, to uplift consciousness, to bring peace and happiness to people, to nations. And the organization is run by a team of volunteers, and I am the president for the organization in Canada.
Okay.
And during my earlier years with the foundation, I did travel to certain African countries, did some conflict resolution, some trauma relief in Central Africa, particularly. And that's how this story came about that you're talking about. So wanted to put the context right.
Thank you for that. Yes. Thank you. So the trauma, when you talk about trauma, we are living in a time of trauma throughout the world. We now, on top of, trying to whirl out of a pandemic, we know we're still not there. And then we have the Ukraine, and then there's all of these other violent spots and chaotic spots across the world. And the impact of that on us. Can you speak a little bit about that? The impact on our DNA and on our human vibration?
Yes, we are going through some very difficult, unusually difficult times globally, with all the global affairs changing, the dynamics, the balance of power, the war, the pandemic, everything has shifted, has changed things for us. And definitely, as you know, that there is a mental health crisis happening everywhere. And we need to very quickly be available and ready to offer, and this is what our organization is doing, to offer tools and techniques to make people more resilient and healthier and live more balanced lives in the context that we're in today. This we do through very simple but powerful breathing techniques, meditation, yoga, ancient teachings, but that are made very current and adapted to the current situation that people are going through. So in small capsules that people can do on their own once they've learned the techniques, just to maintain health and balance and keep themselves, the mind clear, and be happy.
And the importance of breathing, I know in a prayer group that I facilitate, we always start with and have breathing in between. Why is breathing so important?
So breath is connected to life, right? It's a life source energy. Without breath, there's no life. But there's another more intimate connection, that it is also connected to your state of mind. So there's science behind it now that is supporting the ancient teachings in yoga, that whatever emotion that you experience, you will notice that your breathing pattern changes accordingly. Yeah. Right? For different emotions, the breath changes. So to regulate ourselves, to self-regulate and bring a certain amount of centeredness, bringing the mind into the present moment, requires you to manipulate the breath so that your mind can shift and be more in the present moment. And so that we're also able to let go negative tendencies, negative emotions that otherwise we hold on to. So the breath is the key in regulating the mind, regulating the emotions, regulating your energy level as well. When our energy level, when I talk about energy, I talk about the life force, vital energy. And when that is high, then you feel happy, you're uplifted, the mind is clear, the intellect is sharp, you're creative, there are no doubts, that you're dynamic in your actions. But when that life force energy starts to get depleted, you start to feel unhappy, more tired, confusion in the mind, and also illnesses. Very often illnesses are related to that too. So breath is crucial. It's crucial knowing how to use the breath to maintain a healthy life. Also, one other thing, through the breath, you're able to evacuate 70 to 80% of impurities from the system through the breath alone.
Yes.
But we've never really learned how to optimize the use of the breath. And this is what the ancient sciences of yoga have been teaching for millennia.
Mm-hmm. And the what you're saying too is that I believe that sometimes we get caught up in our beliefs or things that we have been taught, because I know there are some folks, Christian folks, that I have said to them, that I meditate and that I try to do my breath prayer every morning when I wake up to a new day, and they get very confused about why I would do that, and so can you help us to understand that meditation and prayer and what you're talking about, breathing and all those things are the centering space where we connect to something higher than ourselves?
Yeah. See, for all of us as human beings, we want to experience love and connection and compassion, peace of mind. How do we get there? Right? And we will see that we all look for solutions that perhaps are temporary, perhaps work or not work, to bring us that joy or peace of mind, but it doesn't last. It doesn't. How long does it last? How long will a career give you joy, or somebody, or a relationship, or whatever? But everlasting joy or peace or love that doesn't get distorted, that comes from within you, right? That space of quiet, of serenity, of love that you are. Every human being carries that, is that, at the center core of our lives, of our being, we are made up of a substance called love. That is the vibration that we carry, right? But then the mind gets clogged, and you can say that there's like layers of stress that clog the mind, that doesn't allow us to realize who we really are, that joy, that love, that spirit that we are. So through meditation, breathing, etc., we're able to tap into that source, that love, that joy, that serenity, and we're all the same. Ultimately, doesn't matter what belief system you have. Ultimately, we're made up of the same spirit, right? The shell might look different on the surface, but the core is the same. We want the same things. We are connected by the same life force, same consciousness. How to access that is where certain guidance is required, certain tools are required. And then you can, whatever it is that you do in your life, you do it in a better way, right? Whatever. So that doesn't affect your belief system, but only makes you a happier, more joyful person who's there to care and share.
I love the care and share, because we are, over my lifetime, there's been songs and poems and taglines about, we're all in this together, we are connected, we are one, all of that. But when we truly live in that space, in that moment, that place of connection and connectability, that creates also a change, a metabolic change in us, that we're, I want to say our human vibration is lifted, and we begin to see what you just talked about. We see the sameness in each other instead of the differences. I have found that, and I always think, is that true? So I'm going to ask you, Doctor, is that true that when we begin to not judge and really just be in the moment, we begin to just see the light and love in other people, even if they're different?
Yeah, in everybody. So it's the mind that creates those judgments and divisions and prejudices, isn't it? Right? Yeah. It's the mind that carries that. If you look at babies, they're simple, innocent, they love everybody, they're friendly to everybody. These are human values. And we were born with that. We were like that. And as we've grown up, the mind has caught on to stresses, and then some presumptions, some impressions get stuck in the mind. Mind gets conditioned, and that's where the problems start. And we start to see division, separation. We don't see the connection and the oneness, the humanness in everybody. This is why these tools are required, to make our life more simple, so that we can live with that joy, that fullness, that abundance and connection with everybody. Not just with people, but also with your environment, with your, on a bigger scale. One individual who's happy, who's peaceful, can create those vibrations wherever they are. And you talked about vibrations just now.
Yes.
Vibrations carry a lot more power than the words that you speak. You can walk into a room where there has been some disagreement or dispute, and immediately something doesn't feel right over here. Nobody needs say anything, but just the vibes in that room are strong. The same way, if you look at the founder, he gives a really good, Shishri gives a really good example. When a flight attendant says to you, "Have a nice day," it carries a different vibration to when your mother or your grandmother says, "Have a nice day." Right? The power behind it, or the intention, or the vibes behind that are much more powerful when it comes from the source, not just from the lips. So we do have a responsibility to create better vibrations, to create joy and harmony wherever we go. But for that to happen, we need to be in that space ourselves. And for that to happen, we need to get rid of the garbage in our own minds.
And you called it garbage. That is so perfect, because it belongs in one of those 15-gallon trash cans that never, and we take it out right away. But we are, I'm going to say, victims of a world that has taught us to not love ourselves and to love things and the accumulation of things and power. So how do we now, you talked about tools, how do we now, as a human consciousness, shift, I'm going to say, back to
meditation?
Right. Meditation connects you back to the source, brings you back in touch with who you really are, that spirit, that love, that joy. And this is why if every human being, every individual on this planet could take a few minutes just to connect back inwards, to meditate, then we create a better world. We create a more positive vibration wherever we are. More humanness.
And I also think, Doctor, that we are missing out on the vibration of the earth with all of our chaotic noise. That when I love trees, and I love hugging trees, because I just think they're amazing. They've been here forever. They know more than I love trees. And when in Grass Valley, we had, we've had fires here in Northern California for the last, 3 years. It's just been really bad. And after I went up and saw the trees that were burnt but didn't fall down. Many of them had fallen down or burnt, where the heat was so fast and quick that it almost mummified the tree. And then the sap that was coming out of the tree was not of an amber color. It was completely clear, like tears. And I equated that to the tree crying out in its pain, and it made me cry. And someone said to me after, "Oh, you're just a soft marshmallow." And I said, "No, I actually felt the pain of that tree." And someone said to me, "Well, that's not possible." And so Dr. Jugessur, would you please tell me, is that possible, and tell us if that's possible?
There's consciousness everywhere around us, right? Everything is alive. The earth is not dead. The universe is not dead. There's consciousness there that's creating, sustaining, dissolving, recycling. There's an intelligence there. So for someone who's alert and awakened and aware, self-aware, they realize that there's connection, there's consciousness everywhere. Of course, it's not dead.
No.
So definitely, and more we live with the awareness, more we realize that we need to care. We need to care for the environment. We need to care for nature, because ultimately it comes back to us. If we don't care, then we're going to be in trouble, because this is one unit. we're not living as separate entities on the earth. This is all one organism, and we are codependent. And today, with technology, it's made us even more codependent. Yeah, we're realizing that everything is interacting. But when we go to more subtle levels, and again, for that, your mind needs to be clear and alert and very tuned in the present moment. Then you pick up, then you realize that yes, there's things are happening. Why are we facing all these natural disasters right now? Because we've created so much catastrophe through the habits that we have, through bad habits and greed, and now it's having a counterproductive impact on life, on our lives.
Yes.
So it's all very interconnected, and that's why we need to live intelligently, but also, find ways in which we can change even if it's small steps, to change our habits that will sustain the planet and will allow us to thrive in harmony with our environment. Yeah, not cause damage and destruction.
Mm-hmm. And judgment for me has been, for the last decade, my journey to eradicate it, and I use that word deliberately, from my system. And when I move to that place where I am judging, or I feel like I'm judging something, I either begin to meditate, or I start to hum something so that it distracts me from the thing that I think that I have all this power to judge, or the person. Is there any other, there's a lot of things, but is there, when you talk about tools and the Art Living Foundation, how is that a place where people can come and get tools?
Yes, yeah, we offer workshops, we offer courses where people can come, learn the techniques, learn to meditate, learn certain breathing techniques. We have a very powerful signature technique that we teach. It's called the Sky Breath Meditation. Sky being an acronym for Sudarshan Kriya. It's an ancient Sanskrit word. So that evacuates negative emotions, re-energizes your system, recalibrates you, and brings you back in touch with yourself so that you can be more happy, more balanced, more centered, and deal with life's situations in a much better way. And it also physiologically and biochemically, there are many changes that happen as a consequence of these breathing techniques. Because, I mentioned there's science behind it as well. So yeah, people can look us up. They can.
Yeah, I was going to say, how do they find you? And
artofliving.org. That's the website. And anywhere you are in the world, you can just find programs wherever you are. And if people want to reach me, to speak to me, the easiest is through my Instagram social media profile.
Okay, so through the social media area. And I want to say to our community leaders, there's a lot going on where, we're dealing still with Black Lives Matter, Asian hate, LGBTQI. We're always judging something about ourselves as human beings. But, let's be in these communities, and maybe instead of always having listening sessions that don't have a place where people can focus on a one humanity thought, add meditation to your agenda, so that people can begin to come to spaces with peace and not with conflict in their heart. Dr. Jugessur, talk about that, because that's one of your...
So you've touched the right nerve here. So this is what we do. This is what our organization has been doing, is integrating these practices in workplaces, at the corporate level, in this education system, in the prison system, in you name it. Even right now, we're in the United States, we have a Cities for Peace movement, where these techniques are taught to first responders, to the police, to in LA, to reduce gang violence over there. Cities for Peace, you can look it up.
I will look it up.
So These techniques are taught everywhere,
Yes.
and at all levels, integrated, so that individuals and communities can thrive, can be more harmonious, and we can get rid of the conflict in societies. It will not happen just by implementing laws. What you're seeing today, you cannot talk about peace in the world and conflict resolution until you have brought that inner transformation in yourself and then brought it in the communities around you. It will not happen any other way. Otherwise, it's just like a far-fetched idea. And we've seen that, right? We can talk about, global peace and all that, but how? In concrete terms, how? And this is what, our founder, Gurudev, is doing, is bringing this awareness, to every individual on this planet, so that we can shift. One lit candle can light many candles. Yes. And we can bring more positivity and harmony.
And to me, that's the gift that was given to us when the universe was created, a place of peace and harmony. And then it's the gift that we have to try to give to the next generations, even the ones that we will not even be around to see. I can't think of any other thing that I tried to give my children. I tried to give them so much love that they were so inflated like balloons, that when they went out into the world, that their love would carry them through, their love of self, the love of unity, all of that. And when you do that, I'm not saying they're perfect, because they're not. I'm not perfect, but there's a level of peace that I feel they carry, that has made life not a little tiny bit easier. Maybe, they still happen to be brown children in America, so they have been hurt. But at the end of the day, the word that you used at the onset, resilience. So I'm gonna, before we close, because we're almost at the end of our time, Dr. Jugessur talks about resilience, and that when you do these things, you really concentrate, mind, body, soul, spirit, all of that, you begin to have a resilience that not only is in your spirit, but your immune system also benefits, and all of this stuff. So before we end, and because I don't want you just to hear me, you can hear me all the time. Dr. Jugessur, talk about that a little bit before we close, and just give, again, how we can connect with you, so that, again, one action at a time, we can change ourselves and therefore be the change.
You want to hear about resilience?
Yes, please.
So a mind that is clear, that is connected within, and that is connected to something much bigger. Seeing life from a broader perspective brings resilience. Seeing your life in the context of time and space and this universe brings resilience. Being centered from within brings resilience. Having a broader perspective on things brings resilience. Having a broad state of mind, open mind, without prejudice brings resilience. Yeah. And also being connected to the source, to the spirit within, that brings resilience. Because you know that there's a huge power inside you. There's a huge intelligence that is governing this universe, that is loving you unconditionally, that is caring for you, that is carrying you. Even though when you're in trouble, you may not realize it at that time, but there is a power that carries you through all the ups and downs of life. Yes. When you're connected to that power, to that source, that spirit, that love, that divinity, call it what you may, that brings resilience in you. Yeah. Because you know that you're part of something much bigger, and you're not struggling on your own in your own mind. Yeah. So if people want to, does that answer?
Oh no, that's and I want people to reach. I can't make you do anything. When I use these words, just know that's how I was educated. So sometimes I make mistakes and make I use words sometimes in a way that's like, you don't have the power to make people do anything, Michelle. So I know that, my friends. But you gotta look out and find ways to become the best person that you were made to be. As I told you all last week, Dr. Jugessur, I reminded people that they already have everything they need to be who they want to be, that they don't have to go externally to find anything. There may be resources like a phone or something that you need to do what you need to do, but you as an individual have the power to be and manifest whatever you desire. And the choice to manifest love is just that. It is a choice. And we need to be doing that more in the world, just manifesting love with each other instead of this negative place that we seem. The language is so negative.
Correct. Yeah.
Yeah.
Dissolving our own garbage.
Yeah, it's garbage. I love you. It's like we need a garbage disposal, Dr. Jugessur, to get rid of all of the garbage, So I want to thank you so much for taking time out of your day to join us here on Life is a Sacred Journey. This platform is very old. We started as a podcast that was an hour long on Friday evenings. Even in the beginning of podcast world. And then we went to this vlogs format when the COVID began, because we wanted to really give people a place to land on Friday morning. And we just really thank you for coming and being a part of our story and sharing, just really what we need to do. Get the tools. Go to the website, Art of Living Foundation. Yes, thank you. And find out, look through their menu and find out something that resonates with you. Before you do it, center yourself, focus, and ask for the universe to guide you to what you need when you open that website. And I promise you, it will. It will, because that happens to me all the time when I go, okay, I say Lord, because I'll tell you all, I'm a Christian, so I say Lord, but you don't have to say Lord. And I just say, Lord, guide me to what it is that I need to see in this book or hear in this song, and it happens. And, you don't have to do it the way I do it, but I think we have to be active in our lives and active in our spirits and how we change them. And Dr. Jugessur has done that, not only within her own space and bringing peace, even through Zoom. You've brought peace to me this morning and to, I know, our listeners and watchers and followers. So is there one last thing you would like to share with us before you go back into your sacred journey?
I would say to the listeners, I say, continue to explore life, continue to ask yourselves these bigger questions. Who am I? What is my life really about? What is the purpose of my life? If every individual could start tapping into this, just scratching the surface, the universe will guide. But get started. You're here to do big things. You're here to contribute. You're here to serve. You're here to uplift people. Just take the first step.
Yes. Well, thank you for helping me to take further steps. You inspire me, and you will continue to inspire me in your work. Please, my friends, check out the Art of Living Foundation so that you can see more of the workshops and the work of Dr. Jugessur, and just be the change you want to see in the world. Dr. Jugessur, we always end the show by saying to those folks out there that are going through grief and pain and who are contemplating suicide, that they matter, and that they are loved, and the universe would be very sad if they took their lives in this moment. And I always share with them the Suicide Lifeline, which is 1-800-273-8255, 1-800-273-8255. And at this moment, if you're feeling that, stop, take a deep breath, and know the ripple of life is huge. It's huge. And the world wouldn't be the same without you. Call that number. Go in a store, grab somebody's phone. Don't grab it from them because they'll call 911, but ask them to call 1-800-273-8255. Reach out, get some help. Don't take your life because you matter and we need you. We need you. All right. Dr. Jugessur, have a wonderful day in the virtual neighborhood of Life is a Sacred Journey. And I just will continue to follow you. We hope that you will come back as you continue to do great things in the world. And thank you so much for inspiring us this morning.
Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye. All right, my friends, have a good weekend. Hug a tree. Hug a tree. Have a good day. Bye.